Yes, hi there, and I'm going to read the message that you sent me by email, and let's take a look at your situation. So you say, hello, Michael. Thank you for your suggestion, but I have a couple of questions which are, and I would probably use a colon here like this. How do I send you money through Western Union? And you might say, to which address? Secondly, if I buy your 3-month self-program, do I get any discount? You have third. All right, let's go to the first question here. So how do you send me money through Western Union, right? Okay, so if you go to the FAQs part of my website, I sent you a link here. So in this case, if you look at Western Union here, okay, you're going to send me money here at this website, Western Union, right? And that's the link that I put here. So you have to send it to my address here. And remember, my actual mailing address is different than this, but here's what you want to put at Western Union. They're going to ask you my name, Michael Buckoff, then 13509 Buena Vista Drive, Hesperia, California, 92344. So once you do that and you wire the payment, then you send me what's called the money transfer control number, PIN number. And then after that, I create your username and your password. And I don't really have any discounts on that, so it is what it is. My course is pretty much one of the least expensive courses, online courses on the internet. And it's one of the few online courses that actually allows you to submit speaking and writing practice tests and get scores back at no additional cost. So my course is already pretty good value. In fact, you can almost consider the course is free to you. The money that you're paying covers the operating costs, and I also have a TA who helps me with the course, and I have to pay him $11 an hour for his labor. So the course is almost free to you. You are paying some money for the operating costs of my site. All right, so do you get a discount? No. How do you send the money? Through Western Union and to the address I just outlined. Okay, so let's go to your next question here. You say, thirdly, I've never, and usually we say not given but taken. I've never taken Toefl or any kind of exam like this before. I would maybe use a connector like this, but my competence over English is pretty good. And I always got an A plus in English when I was in school. Probably here. If you've already done this, I would probably use past tense. I completed my H.S.C. this year. Need a period here, then begin a new sentence. The results, don't need an apostrophe here, just a plural noun. The results are out, and I did well Use an adverb here instead of an adjective. So the results are out. I did well on that, along with an A+ in English. I'd probably say this. I need to get admitted to a university by the end of this year, and I don't want to drop in a year. Use present here, right? I want to study abroad, so that's why I've decided to take the Toefl exam. And I'm going to end the sentence here, maybe say something like, therefore, do you think I can get 90 to 100 after I complete your course? Finally, do the universities. Probably say it something like this. Do the universities grant the Toefl score of December or January? See, I'm not even sure what you're saying here. You're asking me, do universities accept Toefl scores in December or January? Or are you allowed to take the Toefl test during these months? So for both of those questions, the Toefl is pretty well offered almost every month all year long, so you should be able to take it in December or January. And then you need to contact the specific university in which you want to enroll and ask them what their admission requirements are with the Toefl exam and when they accept those scores at those schools. So you have to contact individual schools to get this information. Now, going back to your question here, can you get 90 to 100 after I complete your course? If the answer is, can you reach this score in 3 months? I mean, I still don't know exactly what your baseline is. I know that as I'm reading the message that you sent me, you're having considerable problems with sentence structure, word choice, punctuation, and so on. So it looks like you have a lot of work in front of you. If you want to get 90 to 100, that's a very high score. Let's just say right now your Toefl score is 60. Let's say it's 60 out of 120. If that is the case, the answer is no. You can probably not reach that goal in 3 months. If your Toefl right now is approximately 75 or 80, the answer is yes. It's possible to reach that goal in 3 months. So it's hard for me to answer that question because I don't know what your current Toefl score is, and believe it or not, it's not that helpful to just tell me you got an A+ in English when you're in school. That doesn't give me that much information. Okay, let's keep going. Your background, you got 4.25 GPA here. So you have good grades. You say, I don't study much. Need a period here to end this. I mainly study on the night before my exams. I'm a slow reader and writer. I've never memorized grammar. How about this? And my vocabulary is not that strong. I don't read. Here when you have books, you have many, and you're using this as a plural noun, not as a possessive noun, so there's no need for that apostrophe. Say, I don't read many books, but I love movies, so I watch a lot of movies. That's helpful. Watching a lot of movies is very helpful for the speaking and for your pronunciation of American English, so I think that's going to be helpful for the speaking section of the exam. See, so I watch a lot of movies. At the same time, I'm trying to build up the habit of reading. This is good. You might say regularly. So this is good. So you haven't read many books, which is a concern, but if you start doing that now, that's definitely going to help you with your writing, with your grammar, with your reading abilities, obviously. A lot of good things will happen if you get into that regular routine of reading. So I used to speak in English with a friend of mine, but then she moved to Thailand. You want to say here in July, unless you give the specific day. So if you said, well, she moved on July 10th, I would use the preposition on, but when you talk about July in a general sense, then use in. I would begin with a new sentence here. As a result, she's no longer available. Other than that, whenever I travel to foreign countries, hey, nice sentence here. I like how you embedded that clause in there. Other than that, whenever I travel to foreign countries, though those are not English-speaking countries, I try to communicate with the people in English. I hope this gives you some idea about my background, and please suggest if you know how I can improve myself more. All right. I got a lot of suggestions here. Okay, so I like the idea that you are watching a lot of movies. I think that's good, but you also need to get into that habit of reading. I recommend that you read magazines, newspapers, and books. Right? So my suggestion right now is reading for about 45 minutes daily. Also, 45 minutes again of the listening. I think this is also going to be good for you on a daily basis. I always tell all of my students this. You also need to get in the habit of note-taking. So as you're doing your reading practice, you should be writing down the main and the most important supporting points of the reading passages. Do the same thing with listening activities. Now, with your listening, movies are good, but you also need to supplement this with sometimes a little more formal, more difficult type listening activities. I recommend if you can watch science programs, history programs, documentary programs, I think are also good, even news programs, and that's going to give you some pretty good English. And again, you're focusing on the main and the most important supporting points, and you're getting this information down in note form. So you're doing that. Now you're not done yet. Now that you've been doing the reading and the listening practice, you should be writing, my recommendation is 3 250-word summaries each week. Each summary should focus on a reading or a listening passage. You're writing about the summary, make sure you do it from the writer's or the speaker's point of view. So if you're writing about a reading passage, you'll say, the main point in the article is. And to support this point, the writer gives several reasons why he or she believes the way he or she does. So you're explaining the information from the point of view of either the reading or the listening passage. Now, in addition to doing writing practice, you should also be speaking. I'm going to recommend maybe 3 60-second oral summaries each week. Again, you're speaking about the reading and the listening passages that you are practicing. And remember, you have to rely on the notes. Your notes are very important. They will be very important during the Toefl exam. So you should really work hard on making your notes more and more complete and more accurate. Remember that Rome was not built in a day, which is to say that you will not have good note-taking skills immediately. It will take you some time to build this and to perfect this, but the more you practice, the better you will get. All right, so I've given you 5 suggestions so far. Now, the next suggestion is I'd like you to start going through the lessons in my online Toefl course. Now, my recommendation is to start with, and here is my course right here, I recommend you start with the vocabulary lessons. You can see them right here. Also with my pronunciation lessons, which is step 2 or section 2. And then also do grammar lessons each day. So you don't burn out. What you can do is like today is a Monday. So today you can do a vocabulary lesson, a pronunciation lesson, and a grammar lesson. Maybe one of the first things you can do here is to take the pretest. That's going to be good. And in the pronunciation part of my course, you also should take the first pretest. The pretest is going to be very important for you. See that? So then each day you'll do like pronunciation lesson number 2, you'll do vocabulary lesson number 2, and then you do grammar lesson number 2. So, and you keep working on these lessons on a day-to-day basis until you finish the first 3 sections of my course. That's what I'd recommend first as you're studying or going through the lessons in my online Toefl course. Now the next thing, once you've done the first 3 sections, it'll probably take you maybe 2 or 3 months to do that. Then I recommend you go through step 4, which is the listening lessons in my course. You can see them here along with the practice tests. Once you're done with that, actually as you're doing that, you can also work on the reading lessons in my course. So that would be the second thing you can do, is to complete the listening and the reading parts of my course. Now the reading is going to be helpful for you. Remember, you talked about you have a slow reading speed. Well, not anymore. What you want to do is to start going through my speed reading test at 100 words a minute and complete them step by step until once you finish the reading part of my course, your reading speed should be closer to 350 words per minute. That's going to be very, very important for you. All right, so as you do the listening and the reading parts of my course, that'll probably take another 1 or 2 months. And then you can work in step 6 and 7, which is the writing. You can see all the lessons here, my independent and integrated lessons. You can see here, notice how I have over 40 independent writing practice tests you can complete starting whenever you want, and also have over 43 integrated writing practice tests that you can practice. So that gives you a lot of writing practice. And of course, the speaking section of my course, you should also start completing speaking practice tests, independent and integrated speaking practice tests, so you can start solving those issues. And what my students do is they actually complete, let me take you over to my Voxupop discussion group here. This is where you will be completing your independent and integrated speaking practice test. See, today I have a couple of students already who have posted speaking practice tests. I have to listen to them, score them, comment on them, and help the students understand what they need to do to get better and to get a higher score. All right, so those are my recommendations for you right now. And maybe my 7th idea is this, is once, maybe after 3 months of study, what you can do is to take a full-length Toefl practice test. At this point, you can actually take a practice test to mark your progress. Now, this is not part of my course, I'll be honest with you. It is an additional service I offer. There's a company that does contract out and gives full-length IBT practice tests. Each practice test is 4 hours long to 5 hours long, and here it is. So what you're going to do is you'll read this, you'll click on this link, and you have to go to this website. This is called scorenexus.com. This is the code that you want to type in, and they will give you a 10% discount on the practice test. Remember that it's very expensive to create a full-length IBT practice test. It costs a lot of money for the business, so it does cost an additional payment of about $34. But here are the benefits. Number one, you will get subtotal scores in the reading, listening, speaking, and writing sections, right? So you can see where you are, and of course you will get an overall score. So the benefits of taking a full-length practice test are as follows. Number one, you will become more familiar with the structure and the format of the TOEFL exam. Number two, you will practice the stamina and the strength needed to complete a 5-hour English test. It's not easy. Number three, you will mark your progress. You can see where you are, and then you can use this information to see what you need to do at my online TOEFL course to improve. So if you notice when you take the full-length practice test that your reading score is still low, then you probably have to refocus yourself more in the vocabulary and the reading parts of my course. You see what I'm saying? So those are my suggestions for you. Does that make sense? So basically I've given you about 7 different things that you can do, and I recommend right now about maybe 60% of your time is spent doing steps 1 through 5, and then you can take 40% of your time going through the lessons in my online TOEFL course. Now you see what we're talking about? This is actually my course right here. Now once you become one of my students, you will have access to all of these lessons immediately, unlimited access to everything. You see all these lessons? Now if you look at them all, if you go from the vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar to the listening, reading, writing, and speaking lessons, you have over about 700 different practice tests and lessons to help you build your academic English language proficiency. Now I gave you a suggestion of how you can use my course in this video. Of course you can do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want, once you have access to my course. Remember though, the longer you use my course, as long as you're consistent and you study on a regular basis, the higher your score is going to be. So most TOEFL students, when they use my course, they improve their score about 5 to 10 points for each month that they study. Now I cannot guarantee these results. Everybody is different. We don't learn it the same way. We don't work at the same pace. We don't have exactly the same work ethic. So you may improve faster or slower than this, but I'm just saying generally that's kind of what you can expect. All right, anyway, thank you very much for your comments, and all the best to your high-scoring TOEFL success.